Have you ever felt like you've built a wall around your heart? You know, one so high and so strong that basically no one can get in? We call that emotional armor. And it's tricky because it can be your greatest shield, but it can also be your own private prison. Today, we're going to talk about why we build those walls, and more importantly, how we might find the key to our own freedom.
Okay, let me just start by asking you this, and be really honest with yourself. Have you ever been here, where the idea of having one of those raw, messy, unpredictable conversations it's so terrifying that ghosting someone, cutting them out completely, actually feels like the safer, easier choice? If that's just hit you in the gut, then you are in the right place.
So let's talk about what this armor actually looks like. How does it show up in your day-to-day life? What does it feel like to wear it all the time? And what do other people see when they look at you?
Chances are people see you as the one who always has it together, right? They'd probably use words like cool, collected, maybe even polished. And yeah, that's all true. But you've probably also heard the flip side, haven't you? Words like distant, critical, maybe even cold. The thing is, both are true. They're just two sides of the very same coin. And here's the wild part. This is actually your superpower. I mean it. In moments of pure chaos, when everyone else is falling apart, you can just flip a switch. You go completely logical and you just handle it. It's an absolutely incredible protective skill that you've had to develop.
So, this whole thing, this ability to stay calm, to create order when everything's on fire, it's the hallmark of a specific personality type. So let's put a name to this and see if this framework, known as the metal person, feels like you. Okay, so where does this idea even come from? Well, in the ancient system of the Chinese 5 elements, which is this amazing way of seeing patterns in nature and in ourselves, this personality type is known as metal. It's an archetype that's all about logic, structure, order, and yeah, a pretty powerful drive for perfection. So, how do you know if this is you? Well, according to this system, it's actually super simple. Just look at the very last digit of the year you were born. If your birth year ends in a 0 or a 1, think 1970, 1981, 1990, 2001, then your dominant element is metal. But here's the deal, right? Like any personality trait, being a metal person is a total double-edged sword. It comes with some truly incredible strengths, but it also comes with some really tough challenges. So, on the one hand, you are the architect of order. Your mind is so sharp, so precise, and you can literally create structure where everyone else just sees a total mess. You get things done, and you get them done right. But the flip side of that is a relentless inner critic. Those impossibly high standards you hold, you aim them right at yourself and at everybody else, which can come across as pretty harsh. You're someone who often values the brutal truth way more than just being nice, because, it's just more efficient. Okay. Now, we need to get to the real heart of it all. Why the armor? Why this constant need for such a rigid control? Well, the answer lies in one very specific and very heavy emotion. In Chinese medicine, every single element is tied to an emotion. And for metal, that emotion is grief. This is everything. That feeling of coldness, of being distant, it isn't because you don't feel. It's because you're trying to manage a very, very profound and deep-seated sadness. So what does this grief actually look like in real life? Well, it's that constant struggle to really, truly let go of things. It's holding on to old regrets or grudges for years, just replaying them in your mind. And it's building those walls, that emotional armor, to try and keep all that sadness out. The only problem is, those walls, they keep love and connection out too. So please, if you hear anything today, hear this. You wear this armor, not because you don't feel anything. You wear it because you feel things so deeply. You're terrified of getting hurt, of looking stupid, of that deep well of grief inside you just overflowing. Your armor is proof of your sensitivity, not a sign that you don't have any. So, what do we do? The answer is not to get rid of the armor. It's part of your strength. The real key is learning how to make it more flexible. Let's talk about what that looks like. Think about it like this. Metal that is way too hard, way too rigid, what happens when you put it under enough pressure? It snaps. But metal that's flexible, like gold, you can shape it, you can bend it, it endures. The goal isn't to stop being metal, it's to become like gold. Let me be super clear about this. Your ability to create structure, to be precise, to be logical, that is an absolute gift. That is not your weakness. The weakness is the rigidity that can sometimes tag along with it. That refusal to bend, to be a little messy, to just be human. So what's a path forward look like? Well, it can start with 3 little shifts in how you think. First, just acknowledge the armor. Don't fight it. Understand that you built it for a very good reason, to protect yourself. Step 2, slowly, gently start to welcome the mess. Let yourself make a mistake. Have a conversation that doesn't have a perfect ending. It's about accepting that being human is not about being perfect. And finally, and this is the big one, you have to let this sink in. You do not need to be perfect to be loved. You are enough, exactly as you are right now.
So I'm going to leave you with this one question to really think about. That heavy armor you have worked so hard to build, is it still protecting you? Or has it maybe become a prison that keeps you safe, but also keeps you really, really lonely?